All right. Well, happy 5th of July.
Thank you. Happy 5th. Um, to me, even though my birthday was July 1st, right? To
Hmm.
me, this is the beginning of my month because I like beginning the month on a Sunday. And now that we are back from a little European tour, um, I'm ready to reset again to start our US routine. Love Europe. I could live there, but I'm glad to be back to an AC culture no matter where I am, even if I'm in Boston where they have 7 months of cold, but I know when the weather gets hot, um, you have an AC. And
Well,
that's
well, set the stage before maybe people don't understand what you're talking about. But so here it is. We're July 2026. Take it. What are you talking about in relations to the
Well,
AC?
what I'm saying is that, like I said, I know, I'm sure that everybody's been watching the news. It's not something that needs to be clarified. That in Europe, it's not like here in America, where um, most of the homes are are ready to experience heat wave when the summer kicks in. It doesn't matter if it's a northern state like Boston, New York, wherever it's cold. You don't see people struggling because they don't have AC. Unlike Europe, we were there for 2 weeks, and you and I well experienced that the Europeans are not prepared for heat waves, and their argument is that they're not prepared because it's cold there most of the time. Come on, we even went to a beautiful jeet in this cute little town called Gerbois, and thank God you requested from the owner a fan and she had one. But I really don't understand that mentality. Okay, so fine. New York, they have 7 months of cold weather, but when the summer kicks in, people are prepared. No, or my argument is wrong.
No, no. For context, for those of you who are listening and you are the year 3000, and if you don't know, so this is 2026. June, we were in Europe, and Europe was hit by an unusual heat wave that reached in Celsius about 42 degrees, in Fahrenheit over 100 degrees. And to Denny's point, the countries that we visited were not prepared because the comfort zone with a cold made it difficult for them to get ready for that heat wave. Now the heat wave is absolutely suffocating. A lot of people died, in fact, probably about 200 just in the Paris area. A lot of elderly people. In fact, the air conditioning problem is not just confined to homes, because if it's just to homes, okay, fine. It's even hospitals where my sister works in a hospital, and she said they don't have air conditioning, which is amazing, right? So, uh, U.S. and Europe are two different places. The U.S. has an abundance of energy sources, including a lot of free or cheap or near free oil and gas coming from Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. Europe doesn't have that.
Okay, but I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I know you're an expert in the geopolitical situation. I'm not. I'm just a lover of Europe, and I may be a spoiled American, but this is not the first time that they had a heat wave. We were there in 2017 Or did you forget we were there in 2017 and it was exactly the same situation? So I don't see the value in their argument because this is not the first time you experience the heat wave. I'm not saying destroy your beautiful historical buildings and bring in central AC the American way, but at least based on your past experiences, buy portable ACs. We all see them on Amazon. Buy fans like the people in third world countries. I mean, I was born in the Dominican Republic, and if there is one thing every Dominican Republic home has, because there's no central AC, you're gonna find is an old school fan. Everybody has a little fan in their room, and those summer days when that heat climbs, at least you have a fan. But in Europe, discombobulated, not a fan, nada. I
Yeah,
mean, we went to this cute little hotel in the Moselle Valley in Germany, and we decided not to stay because they didn't even have a fan. So,
yeah.
what's your argument with
No,
that?
no, no, no. This is absolutely a valid argument. I think that I hear people saying, "Well, we're gonna add more heat to the environment," but I'd say, what's the value of you being dead? What's the value to the environment if you actually die? Because people die. No, I agree with you. I think the Europeans are, as smart as they are. Of course, we love them. We love we love their culture, the food, the atmosphere, etc. But I think there's a fundamental flaw in the way they administer and manage things. It's not just air conditioning issue. It probably, if you see the if you see the weight of bureaucracy everywhere in those, particularly France. France is notorious about its bureaucracy and administration. If you want to put an air conditioner in your apartment in Paris, you need like three or four permits, right? You have the permits from the central government. That you need a permit from the organization that manages the building, looks and feel. And I understand you don't want to have air conditioning in every apartment. It's going to change completely the looks and feel of Paris. But having said that, if you need one, you need a permit from the environmental agency. You need a permit from the city of Paris. You need a permit from the HOA. And in French law, all it takes is one person to say no, one owner to say no. It's no. So they're in a real pickle, and I think what they need
But
to do.
excuse me, baby, let me interrupt you. I visited Spain. I visited my family for the first time. My first trip to Europe was back um, December, towards the end of December of 2006. So call it December of this year is going to be 20 years that I visited Spain. And I don't know. That French argument, I don't know
Is
because
weak.
it's weak. Because when I visited Spain, that was the first time that I saw those split
Units, yeah, air
AC
conditioning, yeah.
units, like the ones that people use in DR. And, and I'm gonna tell you, the Spaniards have the same history as the French. We all know it's not that Spain is a young country like the US and the Americans. So why are the Spaniards doing it where 20 years ago they were already using the split AC units? And here in France, I mean, you're telling me those beautiful apartments in Champs-Élysées don't have AC?
Well, no, I think those probably do because they're
Okay.
they're owned by the rich, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and they're probably well designed and central AC, etc. So I think, yeah, you're right. I think that's the flaw with the French system, and by extension the European Union as well. I think their laws are uh, uh, a little too aggressive, if you ask me. But having said that, um, there's a lot to enjoy from Europe, isn't it? Morning, how you
Morning,
doing?
how are you?
Beautiful
No, no,
dogs. Oops.
no, baby. You know me. I love Europe. This is a known fact. I loved it. I love it. I have even have, um, future tags where I want to spend when I'm retired. By the way, guys, I have a long way to retirement. But when I do, I want to spend 3 years in France. I mean, sorry, 3 months in France, 3 months in Italy, 3 months in Portugal. No, I love Europe. It's just that to me was like, oh my God, did not learn from the heat wave that they had in 2017, where people, and this is, forget about government. Why doesn't your average person have a
A
simply
fan.
pimply fan? What's wrong
Yeah.
with having a fan?
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's my argument.
All right. Well, set that aside. What was the iconic moment of your 2 weeks in Europe, and how many countries you visited to begin with?
Well, I visited a total of 4 countries.
A fifth
Uh,
one in passing.
yes, so it was France, of course, the darling France, um, Belgium. I visited the medieval city of Bruges, um, the Netherlands, aka Holland, of course, Amsterdam, and there's a little town 20 minutes off Amsterdam that is called Sandam. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, guys. That has the cutest windmills, and it was always part of my bucket list that I wanted to see windmills in Holland, in the Netherlands. And then we visited Germany, and we visited a very underrated um, part of Germany by tourists. It's called the Moselle Valley, and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, when I say those views are stunningly beautiful, they're beautiful. As we reach this village called Koshem, we started to see castles in the hills. It was absolutely lovely. Um, and then we did quick a quick visit in Luxembourg. Luxembourg, it was nice, but I was not impressed. It reminded me a little bit of Brickell Avenue in Florida. I'm sure there are other things to see, but as you know, it's a very, very tiny country. I think it's number 7
Mm-hmm.
in the smallest country in the world.
In Europe.
In the world, in Europe.
In Europe.
In Europe, okay. And I mean, it was cute, but nothing
Not to spend too much time.
in my view. But that's
Especially when you know that the next destination
in my view.
is.
And then as we were driving back, it was the region of Champagne. And boy, did I fell in love with that one too.
Champagne. There you go. You fall in love because, well, it's champagne, right? And
I was drinking champagne and champagne.
yeah, exactly. And you try. I tried champagne back in the old days and whatever. It's like, it's no big deal. It's just a glorified white wine. When you try champagne from the region that is of good quality, oh, you can smell it when they open it from a mile away,
Yes.
right? So there you have it. But okay, so for those of you who wonder how the trip went or was organized, it wasn't really organized. It was basically, okay, we're gonna go there, we're gonna go there, we're gonna go there. By the way, no plane. So we borrowed my sister's car, but in any case, you can rent a car, and the rental car for a week would set you back only about 250 to 300 US dollars. That's how much I was pricing those car rentals, and that's what it was showing. You can get a decent 5-seat car for about $300, which is really good. And then, of course, the biggest concern to me was gasoline, because literally the price of gasoline is double the US. So I was like, oh gosh, we set aside $1,000 just in case. And it turned out to be just the distance, about 1,000 miles from Paris, and you go on a circle, right? So from Paris to Belgium north to Amsterdam further north, then veer right to Germany, and then the Champagne region, and then Paris. That's a circle. That was
You forgot Luxembourg.
via Luxembourg. So that was 2 full tanks, and the full tank was on average 80 to 90 euros.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we're talking about less than $200. Now, a lot of people, when you see on YouTube and TikTok all these social media stuff, a lot of them tend to take trains, but trains are expensive. If we were to do it by train, first of all, we wouldn't go nowhere. We'd be going only to big cities, right? And what we did, we asked Google to avoid tolls. First of all, at some point, in the beginning, when we were full of energy, we would say avoid tolls and avoid highway. So it would take us to the backsides, the countrysides. The moment you leave where my sister lives, you reach this little town. The first town that kind of stood out is called Chantilly.
Chantilly.
Yeah, like the stuff that you use on your cake.
I like the fragrance from the 70s and 80s called Chantilly.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not aware of the
yes.
Chantilly, but anyway, it must be coming from there. But the moment you hit that little town of Chantilly, you see like, what? They have a huge castle, and they have a lot of waterways, for sure. So that's where it took us. It took us through the backsides, the countryside. It was wonderful, but at some point, of course, we needed to speed up a little bit because we were too exhausted. So rather than avoid highways, we enabled highway, but we avoided tolls because apparently, especially in France, some tolls could run up to 30 euros a one-way. It's just insane. It's not, again, I think the French...
And the thing that you have to say is not only that even when you avoid tolls and highways, you're going at a very good speed, and the views and the experience of going through all these little towns is priceless. And I mean, the next time we do something similar, I think we got to do it with a little bit more time instead of setting aside what we set aside a week. I think we need to do 2 weeks. But the beauty is running through those little towns. If you want to explore the French countryside, the Belgian countryside, and Amsterdam, we didn't see much of it, right? It wasn't that much of Amsterdam.
Yeah, we saw enough.
Mm-hmm.
We saw enough to have an idea. For example, we ordered a Bolt driver to... Bolt is the European Uber-ish.
Yeah, but that was once we were in the city. I'm talking about the drive.
The country in general.
The countryside drive heading from Belgium to Amsterdam.
Yeah, right. You're right. We use the highway. Mm-hmm. So bottom line, I think the message is, if you feel like visiting, and I mean not train, because train, you can go from big city to big city. You could do it, and you're gonna lose your shirt money-wise because those trains are not cheap. And if you are 3 of you, then the cost adds up. So, bottom line, get yourself a car. $300 for a week would get you an automatic car, so you don't have to worry about, driving is not that difficult. You just have to be patient and drive slow in big cities. and highways, you have to absolutely keep in mind that there are radars everywhere. So if you go above the speed limit, you will get ticketed. They will send that ticket to your rental company, or your rental company will charge you. So there you have it. So uh, if you want to visit the place, start with no highway, no tolls. Then if you want to speed up, enable highway, and do not enable tolls, particularly in France, because they will eat you alive. There's this feeling from the French administration that money is easy, you know. Just charge people and off we go. I think this is crazy. Um, all right, so of all these places, what city is a must visit? A must visit. Obviously, you put aside Luxembourg, forget it.
I
Germany, this town we went to, it's Cochem, or some people call it Cochem. Forget it. But what city is you cannot avoid?
I think for me, the one city that my recommendation that you should not avoid is Amsterdam. I mean, I was surprised. I didn't really think I was gonna like it as much as I did. But while we were there, you know, from our check-in to the hotel, they were very friendly. When we would walk around, they were very friendly. And by the way, guys, my personal opinion, I think the people from the Netherlands, the Dutch, they should be in the top 10 of the most beautiful people and fit people that I've seen up to date in
Mm-hmm.
Europe. But they were friendly. So I was like, is it real that these people are so happy, so friendly, to the point that I went on Google and I had to do a Google search. Where did the Dutch rank in that ranking that they do every year about the happiest people in the world? And guess what? They rank number 7. And I told my husband, of course, because these people are happy, they live life, they run around in their bicycles. Oh, that's another thing that shocked me, guys. For you FIY, if you've never been to Amsterdam, just know that bikes rule.
Yeah,
It's not the cars, it's not us, the pedestrians.
they have the rite of
Bikes
passage. Yeah,
rule. They have the numero uno passage. So when you're walking in the city, make sure you don't get caught in those bike lanes because they are not going to stop for you. They're not.
yeah, it's true. I usually think of the happy people as the Latinos, because the music. I think the Dutch are the Latinos of Europe,
But
even more than Spaniards. You think?
yes,
There's an aura to them. There's an aura,
aura. Yes,
like a happy aura.
yes.
They look good. They look always like they just look like they just came out of the shower,
They
clean.
look
The
healthy. They
clothes,
look healthy.
the
They look
clothes are
healthy.
like perfect. It's like, what are you doing?
But no, but I'm gonna tell you something. The vibe, because I could say I have visited Spain, and when I mean I have visited Spain, I have visited Spain, not just your typical Barcelona and Madrid. No, I have visited many little towns in Spain, and people might have the perception. One thing is to be, um, the Latin countries, the Mediterranean Latin countries, which we all know,
South of Europe, yeah.
it's France, Italy, and Spain. The Dutch are just happy. Latin culture, the association with Latin culture that people think might believe that it would be the French, the Italians, or the Spaniards, because you associate Latin with lively, with things being lively, with the heat, um, for the Spaniards with the music. By the way, the flamenco that we all know is a mix of what they stole from the Arabs. But but to me, music doesn't define your happiness. To me, what defines if you are a happy city is behavior.
Yes.
and and their way of treating you and the way they look and the way they act, they seem happy. As to when sometimes you're in a city um, like Madrid, excuse me, the
Madrilenos.
Spaniards, excuse me, the Madrileños, but sometimes you find them to be a little bit aggressive.
Hmm.
um, I don't think that they're really, I will never put them in a happy people category. I think sometimes when they talk to you, they're a little bit aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Madrileños. The
Yeah.
only the other little towns that I visit back then when I was doing that, because the last time I was in Spain was back in 2012,
Hmm.
so it's 14 years ago. But no, I didn't see that we are a happy country vibe like I saw in Amsterdam.
Now, when I said Latino, I'm talking about the Dominicans. They're always,
No,
beer.
we cannot, because but baby, that doesn't count because we are talking about Europe right now.
Okay, 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 okay.
And we all know that Latin people are very happy, easygoing,
Yeah, that's what I meant.
relaxed
That's what
people.
I
No,
meant.
no, but we're
The
not talking.
Dutch, what I saw the Dutch, is they're always smiling.
They're always smiling, but yeah, but
It's like, geez, I mean, what are you on hashish? Possibly.
maybe that has something to do with it.
No, 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 no.
But no. But we're going back to the context. I think that they're happy because maybe they have a good lifestyle. Maybe their day to day life. Um,
Yeah, it's
their
less
life is
stressful,
good.
maybe. I don't know.
It's less stressful. I don't know, but I think definitely that's a country that I want to go back, because I don't want to. Maybe I'm just going with the image of that. That's what it is, because I was in Amsterdam. I want to go there and I want to explore more. I want to go um, to the Netherlands and park myself for at least 4 or 5 days. That's when you get a good view of how the country is and people really are.
Yeah, I agree. I think Amsterdam is definitely worth a little longer stay. My favorite city, though, and I know you probably wasn't in your mind earlier, is definitely Paris. It's the most complete city. In fact, I was going to say France is Paris, but not really. I mean, they have so many beautiful cities, towns, villages that you can. You see, the issue is you compare France to Italy. France is, in my opinion, much more sophisticated, and not this is not a. Of course, the Italians are sophisticated, but the French are much more sophisticated because they have that legacy of the history that they carry with them. And I don't mean that the Italians don't, but the Italians, in contrast, have much more recognizable cities. The French only have Paris that most people know, and then the people that really love French.
No, but the French, come on, I defer to disagree. The French, they don't only have Paris. Come on, people know the south of
Yeah, yeah,
France,
but not,
Nice,
but
Saint
it's not,
Tropez,
but
Cannes.
they're not as
Oh,
recognizable as the cities of Italian cities. Rome, Milan, Turin, Sicily.
no, no, they are, baby. I disagree
Okay,
with
all
you.
right, all right.
I totally
But
disagree with
going
you.
back to the city of Paris is gigantic, and it's even more gigantic because of its business model, which relies heavily on tourism. In fact, if you go now and you walk anywhere in the city, most likely 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 people that you see are not from the area. Here's an interesting statistics. Paris is about 2 million people. The annual tourism entry just for Paris, just for the city, 50 million. 50 million. What a number, right? And they beside the air conditioning, they have superb infrastructure. I mean, you can get a hotel room in the suburb where the RER, which is sort of the extended train service, reaches, and you don't have to be in the. You can be hanging out in the city until midnight and then take your train back 10, 15, 20 minutes away to your hotel and be just fine. Superb infrastructure, absolutely stunning architecture, and the sheer size of it is just unmatchable anywhere in Europe. I don't know if Madrid, I don't know much about Madrid. It's another probably beautiful big city. I know Barcelona is a big city as well. Rome certainly, but Paris takes the cake.
I know you love your Paris.
No, I don't.
love Paris. Don't get me wrong. I do. I love Paris. I love the lifestyle. I mean, I know when I love a place. I know when I'm in that love position when I say to myself, can I park myself and live there for 3-4 months? And Paris is an absolute yes. I don't even have to think about it. But I differ. Rome might not be as gigantic as Paris, because you have to understand it's a very old city. Rome is very old. But Rome, unlike Paris, that Paris has the Louvre with all the works of art, Rome doesn't need a Louvre, because Rome is a gigantic museum everywhere you go. So you don't need to go into a building to find history. When you are walking on those little side streets and you see those piazzas, you find history everywhere. And while my feeling is you see Paris and you get that impact like you get when you go to New York. When you go to Rome, Rome hugs you. Rome is cozy. Rome is those piazzas and those little streets, and then you're walking, and all of a sudden you see a ruin, a little cafe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. Paris gives you a sense of organized infrastructure. I mean, it goes back to what they call the Haussmannian era, where Napoleon hired this military general to build Paris, and he built it with a vision, right? I don't think Rome was built with a vision.
No, Tata, you think the Romans didn't build Rome with a
modern
vision?
modern Rome, not old Rome.
Well, no, but
with the buildings, the government
you're missing
buildings.
the point. No, because
And that's what makes it cozy.
modern Rome had to be left intact, Tata. Too many years of history to start breaking streets and piazzas to create things that were uniform.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
No.
No, but my point being is really what makes the difference between Paris and Rome. Paris is much more structured, much more buttoned up. You know what I mean? When you look at it from the top, you can see those avenues that are architected and engineered in a very clear way. Somebody sat down and destroyed. They had to destroy all sort of tenements, right, to rebuild Paris. Whereas the other European cities are typically cities that sort of grew organically, which means houses can be sort of not necessarily straight line. They can be, that's what gives them the charm. That's what makes Italy. Italy, you look at those villages, they're beautiful, but there's a certain amount of natural chaos. Not chaos, but, small streets, corners here and there. It's not as structured. It's not as a grid that you would find like you saw in most Paris, that you saw in New York City, for example, Manhattan. It's all gridded. It's all a grid system.
Well, I don't know. I like I said, I'm not gonna. We all could agree to disagree. I'm not saying that I love Paris. I love there. I enjoy there, but I'm not in my list. I'm not putting Italy in second place. In my list, they have
Okay.
a tie because I feel that each city gives you different expectations, different. It's Rome is that different vibe. Is that sense of um, mm, La Dolce Vita, the sitting in a cafe and just talking and looking around and the artsy shop and the Renaissance. So it's different. Madrid, it's a city. Um,
I see
Madrid
it
is a
coming.
city. It's nothing. Now, when you say to me Barcelona,
Yeah, that's
now
different.
we are talking La Sagrada Familia, Gaudi, the architecture. I mean, I want to go back to Barcelona. Um, I visited the outside, which is called, it's the area of Tarragona, but I want to go back to Barcelona.
Beautiful city. I went there a few
Beautiful
times,
city.
and let me tell you, it's one of the most youthful cities in Europe. Youthful because, well, young people bring different ideas, different needs, different cultures, and it's good, as opposed to what conservatives tend to say. Oh, we don't want to be bothered by foreigners or immigrants. We want to be just
Yeah.
alone, just us alone. Like that, it's crazy.
But going back to what you said when I visited, sorry, but everybody has a right to expose their opinion here, and I don't want to fluster
Anyone, okay.
I don't want to fluster nobody's feathers, but when I visited Barcelona, they're not that friendly. I
Mm,
didn't find them to be friendly at all.
mm.
Um,
Well,
no.
just what, like the
The,
Parisians,
uh,
like the Parisians.
Well, the Parisians,
They're not unfriendly.
they're not
They're just
unfriendly.
hot under 40
No, no,
degrees.
the Parisians, they used to tourism. They're used to it. They this is what they know. Um, but in Barcelona, it's a very touristy city.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
more so than Madrid. You know
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay?
It's more important. Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
when it comes to tourism, but it's always like I was there in 2000. I don't know if it was 2007 or 2008.
Hmm.
I think it was 2007. And they found, they seemed to be annoyed with the tourists.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
How
Spaniards are
can you,
notorious about
how
their
can you,
pushback.
this is your livelihood and you're claiming you want to be independent from Spain itself, and one of your prime sources of GPA is tourism, and here you're going to have, guys, excuse my French, fuck faces every time you see a tourist. I don't know about Barcelona, honey, because to me it has to be as much as the structure as the people. And sorry, guys in Barcelona, but you did not give me that
Danny,
friendly vibes.
Danny is now forbidden to enter the city of Barcelona.
I'll be okay, but the truth has to be told. Now, I visited a city in Spain. In Spain, I went there twice, and the people were wonderful. They were beautiful. I mean, it's underrated. The best seafood I had in my life. The views, the natural views are stunning, and is Asturias. Asturias is surrounded by the Cantabric Sea. That's how you say it.
Which one?
Asturias, and it's surrounded by the Cantabric Sea, El Mar Cantábrico. So their seafood is mwah.
Ah,
They were very nice, but Barcelona, I think we're gonna have to do another trip. It's like a little double take there.
yeah. So, just for context, guys, in case you hear noise, Today is Sunday the 6th, I think. Is it the 6th today of July 2026, right?
The 5th.
Oh, today is the 5th. Oh, okay, okay.
Yesterday we were
Yesterday was, okay. Yeah, Sunday the 5th.
250 years of our
250 years,
independence.
and we end up with a very weird government. But anyway, that's not the
No,
topic.
where this is not government.
That's not the
talk.
topic of the discussion. So,
No.
just to give you perspective here, it's currently around 8:39 a.m. in the morning, and we're doing our 4-mile walk. We're trying to do it on a daily basis, at least 2 miles on a daily basis, and then on weekend days, 4 miles to stay healthy. The reason is we experimented the same concept in Europe, because when we travel, yes, we rent a car, but also we rent our feet and legs, and we use them quite a bit, and it's wonderful. Try it. Go to a city, have no plan, and then just walk. Go to a big city. Don't go to a tiny
and
city.
girls, this is for the girlies. In our next podcast, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know, 10, 20 things not to believe that they tell you in social media about going to Europe.
Yeah.
Don't believe all those little cute little outfits that you see in Pinterest. Don't believe
Yeah.
all these French women telling you, "Woo, woo, woo, woo." You want to fit in and be like the French, but that's going to be a totally different podcast, because I could say I've been to Europe already quite a few times, and every time I go, I always learn something new in trip when it comes to fashion and comfort. Like I said, that would be a whole nother podcast, but the advice is, don't believe the social media hype as a woman when you go to Europe.
Right, and I know she will be focusing on that next time, but a couple of previews from my perspective. High heels. You're not gonna walk in large cities like Amsterdam and Paris in high heels. 0 sense, makes 0 sense. And then you're gonna hear, and then the second issue that you have to be careful is these girls that have YouTube channels that talk to you about how to be a French woman. Don't wear your jeans, don't wear your shorts, don't wear this, wear this kind of flip-flops. It's bullshit. What you need to do is you have to be you. Why? Because nobody cares. In Paris, you are the last person people will care, and many Americans get offended. They say, oh, they don't pay attention to us, they don't like us. No. When you are a city the size of Paris or Amsterdam, and you are under 100-degree heat, you are invisible. Morning.
Not only are you invisible, sorry to interrupt, people don't give a shit how you're dressed.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, they actually might smile. We haven't seen anybody, but smiling or whatever.
Morning.
But imagine for the moment you wear something that you feel super comfortable, and somebody finds that odd. They smile and they're happy, so you're bringing joy. Don't try to fit in. Don't get those high heels. This one brought how many pairs of shoes?
But aren't we leaving this for the next
Okay,
podcast?
we're leaving this for the next podcast. Just give them a preview.
I'm going to tell you, I brought in 6 pairs of shoes.
6 pairs of shoes, man.
And ask me, out of the 6 pairs, how many pairs did I use?
Yeah, question. How many pairs? 2 pairs. So 4 pairs.
2.
4 pairs. We took French B. We flew on a French airline called French B, which is not the best, huh? But anyway, They claim to be...
Not a recommend. It was not for me.
They claim to be low cost, but there's nothing low cost about them. Nothing
but
at all.
Let's leave that for the next. So guys, it was wonderful talking to you guys. And in our next episode, we're going to talk to you about the do's and don'ts, where to eat, where not to eat, what clothes to wear, and how to plan it. We are going to try to help save you the little hiccups that we went through. And let me tell you something. If you have the opportunity, there's nothing more beautiful than spending a summer in Europe. It's absolutely priceless.
I don't know about that, but that would be the conclusion for now. And I say I don't know about that, but anytime we go to Europe in summer, if you have high heat tolerance, that's for you, of course. Two things: high heat tolerance and a lot of people, right? Because everybody and their mother and their kids are on vacation, right?
Oh, and that's another thing we're going to talk about.
That's right. So
Traveling to Europe with a teenager.
that's right.
In that part, it's not priceless because you're going to need a lot of money to feed that little creature beast.
Especially if that beast goes to the most expensive item in the menu. It ends up being really you need to redo your mortgage. Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll be talking soon. Adios.